What's up, yogis? Happy Thursday. Thanks again for joining if you're tuning in. This is going to be Yin Yoga. And I wanted to start a couple minutes early just to give you guys some time to grab some props. If you missed the announcement yesterday, I suggested maybe grabbing a couple of things just to help deepen your practice today. So one thing you might want to grab is a block or two if you happen to have some. If you don't, then you might want to grab a couple of books that can substitute as some blocks. I have David Foster Wallace's Infinite Jest, which I mentioned yesterday, and also Mysticism by Evelyn Underhill, who sounds like she lives in the Shire. This one I have read, this one I have not, but it seems like a good book for a yogi to have. Mysticism, the nature and development of spiritual consciousness. Anyway, so start to get some props together. That's one thing you want to do, is grab some blocks or books. Another thing is to maybe grab a couple of blankets, and these can totally substitute as blocks instead. So you can take one blanket and roll it up. I actually grabbed two. This is going to be really, really helpful, and it's going to feel really good in your practice. So go ahead and get that situated. And as you're gathering your props, one more thing, if you happen to have a yoga strap, that's awesome, grab that as well. If you don't, grab a belt or something similar, and you won't have to get too specific with this. If you have one of these belts that has like the little buckles, those are really nice and basically the same thing as a yoga strap. Yeah. So grab one of those. I'm going to put some of this stuff back here. I'm trying to design a sequence today so that you would be able to see as much as possible without too much fidgeting around. And if you're new to Yin Yoga, Yin, you are focusing on getting a little bit deeper into your connective tissue, your tendons, your fascia, all the sticky stuff that keeps our bodies together. And the way that we do this in Yin Yoga is by holding postures for a long time. So we're going to hold poses today for anywhere between 3 to 5 minutes. And I encourage you to really stay with the pose. So I will be fidgeting and moving around a little bit just so that you can hear my voice, and to maybe change angles so that you can see a little bit better for what we're supposed to be doing. But for you guys, try to settle into your pose and try to hold it for as long as you can. And any tendency or any urge to move or fidget around or change something, try to hold off. And try to think about maybe why you want to move, why you want to fidget. One thing that I mentioned yesterday is that as we've been quarantined, I think we've all gotten used to online workout classes. Lots of opportunities to put in strenuous efforts to work out our muscles and to make it feel like we're moving. We're not very good at sitting still, but there's something very important about learning how to sit still. So try to keep that in mind today. Alright, so that should be enough time to get yourself situated. We're going to begin today. By the way, playlist and coffee link are in the description for the video. I'm going to keep an eye on the video to make sure it's streaming as well, so if we cut out, then just keep an eye out and I'll get it started again. Yeah. Alright, so go ahead and start up the playlist if you like, and grab one of your blocks or your tower of books or your soft and cushiony blanket. We're going to begin today in a supported saddle. which is Virasana, hero's pose in Vinyasa flow. And what you want to do, I'll start off here and then I'll rotate to show you from the other angle. You want to bring your knees in together to touch. And then separate your feet wide with your toes untucked and the tops of your feet down on your mat or on either side of your mat. Wide enough so that you can sit your hips down between your heels. If you're anything like me, then your IT bands are really super tight. So you might need a little bit of support getting your way into this pose. And you can do that by sitting on your block or your books or your blanket. I'm going to use the block and sit up nice and tall. Now your IT bands are the longest stretch of fascia in your body. They run all the way from the tops of your hips at your greater truncantor, all the way down to the outsides of your knees. And if you have lots of problems in your knees, then a lot of that can be contributed to tight IT bands. So this is a pretty deep stretch for that long stretch of fascia. It's also a lot of hip internal rotation. You're going to feel it in your shins, the tops of your ankles, the tops of your feet, maybe even your Achilles or your calf muscles. And sit up nice and tall and take your hands and lay them in your lap with your palms facing upward, stacked on top of one another. Drop your shoulders down from your ears, lift your chest and sit up nice and tall. Imagine stacking the crown of your head over your pelvis. As we flow through practice today, try to maintain a natural breathing rhythm. So rather than firing up your Ujjayi pranayama or trying to control your breathing, just let it settle into its own natural pace. In order to find that pace, we'll begin with a couple of deep breaths just to reset. So take a long inhale through your nose. Open mouth, exhale, breathe out. Again, inhale, fill up. Open mouth, exhale, release. One more time, inhale, breathe, and pause and hold at the top for 3, 2, 1, exhale, let it go. And as you do, let your shoulders relax even further and then let your breathing rhythm just settle. Again, letting it fall into its own natural pace, its own steady flow. Imagine you're breathing as if you would while you were reading a really good book, maybe something by David Foster Wallace or Evelyn Underhill. Or engaged in a really good movie. If you like to set intentions for your yoga practice, go ahead and do that now. You're welcome to share my intention today, which is to be okay with stillness. To be okay with stopping. To be okay with not moving. As we flow through our sequence today, as we come into our Yin practice, try to not move as much as possible. And so even when you change from one pose to another, Try to use as little muscle engagement as possible to get from one place to another. Maybe notice your legs starting to loosen up. Maybe this has gotten a little bit more comfortable for you and you can lower your block down or adjust the setting and size. We're only here for one more minute. Notice any tension you might be hanging on to in your shoulders, in your upper back, in your arms. What are you clinging on to that you can let go of? What doesn't serve you in this particular pose? Can you relax your jaw or release your tongue from the roof of your mouth? And come back to your breathing, take another inhale. And exhale completely. And slowly shift your weight forwards, lift your hips up from your mat or your prop, whatever is underneath you. And you'll be facing this way on your mat. Yeah, so I'm going to change to face just like you. Separate your knees hips width distance apart and find a tabletop pose. And keep your toes untucked. Then walk your hands forwards, but keep your hips above your knees so that your thighs are perpendicular with your mat. And come into your puppy pose. You want to lower your chest down to your mat. And reach your arms out long in front of you. This is also called Anahatasana. Your Anahata is your heart chakra. It's a big heart opener. Now, you can take your rolled up blanket if you happen to have one, and maybe lay that down in front of you. And lay your forehead on that or your block. And keep your hips high, and then maybe lift them a little bit higher while letting your chest sink further down towards your mat. Reach your arms out long and then gently lay your forearms down. And allow gravity to start to take control. Let your chest sink closer down towards your mat. And continue to stay here. I'm lifting up so you can hear the sound of my voice still. Feel the compression in your lumbar spine and the opening in your chest, maybe in your shoulders. Puppy pose. It's just like child's pose, except instead of a baby human, you're a baby dog. As you stay here, start to notice your shoulder blades getting tighter together. Maybe your chest getting heavier as it sinks down towards your mat. With your eyes closed down, start to become a little bit more aware of any of the sensations coming up in your body. As you hold these poses, as you sit still for a little bit longer, you become more acutely aware of everything that's happening inside. You start to pick up on little nuances that are easily overlooked when you're constantly moving. As we come into each pose today, and try to find that edge of sensation. That point where it feels just right. If you want to make your yin practice a little bit more restorative, you're more than welcome to. We'll have options for going deeper as you need. And take another breath in. And exhale, let go. If you have a prop underneath your head, then maybe move that out of the way. Just shift it forwards if you can. Keep your hips stacked over your knees, and then take your right hand to your left elbow. And keep your left knee down on your mat. And then send your right leg out towards the right side of your room or the right side of your mat. And try to plant your foot down in line with your left knee. Send weight into the outer edge of your right foot so it's firmly planted on the floor. And try to keep your head down with your right hand again on your left forearm or your left elbow. You can lay your forehead on your right forearm if that feels good. Get a deep stretch in your right hamstring, your right inner thigh, a gentle opening in your hips. Come back to your breathing and be aware of how your breath might have changed in this more strenuous posture. Can you smooth your breathing out? Think of your breath as a reflection of how your body and how your mind feel. In order to find easy steadiness in the pose, can you find easy steadiness in your breath? Can you make the pose feel more comfortable, more natural by making your breath feel more comfortable and natural? We're here for about 3 more breaths. And after your 3rd breath, bring your right knee back to your mat. Lay your right forearm out in front of you and switch sides. Left hand to your right forearm. And left leg out to the left side. Have the sole of your left foot down with your toes pointing forwards. And your hips still stacked over your right knee. Again, if it feels good, you can lay your forehead down in your left forearm. Continue scanning your body using your breath. Try to use your breathing to smooth out any areas of tension, any areas or parts of your body where you're holding, clinging, tightening. We're here for about 3 more breaths. After your 3rd breath, bring your left hand in, swing your left knee back onto your mat. Walk your hands underneath your shoulders. And then just start to move into some really organic cats and cows that don't even resemble anything like cats and cows. Sway side to side. Move your hips in a circle. And do anything that feels good to just kind of loosen up any sticky spots that you might have discovered in those last postures. Be sure to change sides. If you're going clockwise, then go counterclockwise, and vice versa, so on and so forth. Then take your right foot and step it outside of your right hand, the front edge of your mat. You can wiggle your left knee back if you need to, take up a little bit more space and widen up your stance. Coming into our first dragon pose. In vinyasa, this is lizard or runner's lunge. But in yin practice, it's dragon. It's so much cooler. So, our first dragon is going to be baby dragon. And you can stay here with your hands on your mat. Or you can find your bolster, rolled up blanket, or your books, or your block, and lay your forearms down on one of your props. So wherever you go, try to relax your neck, let your head hang heavy. The human head weighs approximately 10 pounds. Imagine all that energy that you're wasting, using it in your neck to keep your head lifted. Just lower it down. You're welcome to stay here in your baby dragon if you like. This is a very intense pose as well. And if this suits you and feels right, then please stay. If you want to go a little bit deeper, then you can come back to your hands. And then gently lay your right hand on your right inner thigh and let the outer edge of your right foot come down as you twist your dragon. Roll your chest up towards the ceiling and let the gentle weight of your right arm open up your hips. So you're not pushing your right knee away, you're not jacking up your hips, you're not forcing your leg to go in a position it doesn't want to go in, but rather just letting the weight of your upper body rest on your right leg. Lay your left palm all the way down if you're taking this option. And draw your right shoulder further back and twist. Alright, yogis, if you want to stay here in your twisted dragon, or if you're still in your baby dragon, that's cool. If you want to go one step further, then you can move into dragon pulling its tail. And this is where your strap or your belt can come in handy. So if you would like to take this variation, then kick your left heel towards your glutes. Reach back with your right hand, and if you can grab your foot, great. Grab the outer edge of your left foot, the outer edge, so that your right shoulder is externally rotated. And if you can't quite grab your foot, then that's what your strap can be used for. Just wrap it around your foot. Or your ankle. And gently pull it in a little bit tighter. Opening up the front side of your left leg, your left quads, and getting even deeper into your right hamstrings. Maybe even your right glutes. We're here for about 3 more breaths. And if your pulling your dragon tail, and gently let it go without slingshotting. Lower your left foot down, release your strap. And then from here, you're going to move into a half saddle. So keep your right leg out in front of you. Walk your hands back. And then, similar to earlier, bring your left knee towards your right knee. And your left heel towards your left boot. Right leg out long in front of you. The hips still internally rotated. And sit up nice and tall. Now, you might need to reposition yourself on your mat. If you do, then try to do it nice and easy. And settle in. And sit up nice and tall, lengthen out your spine. And you can lay a blanket down beneath you and maybe along the middle of your mat if you like. Either way, you're going to start to walk your hands backwards. And very slowly, lie down on your back, whether it's with a prop underneath you or not. Come down, try to keep your left knee on your mat. And just melt. Relax your arms. If this is totally uncomfortable for you and you can't quite get there, you can stay on your forearms. Okay? You can also stay lifted if you like. It's up to you. Find the spot that's right for you. And then ease your way into it. So if you come down to your forearms and find that this is enough of a stretch for now, then that's totally awesome. Stay. There's no need to go any deeper. And after a while, if you find that you can and want to go deeper, if your body is asking for more, then maybe start to lower all the way down. Essentially, you're starting at the beginning of the pose and then working your way through it. It's like you're exploring the pose with your body. Rather than forcing your body into a shape that it doesn't want to go into. Try to explore. And again, sit still, stay for as long as you can. Hold. here for about 30 more seconds. If you see me moving and fidgeting around, it's because I'm checking the timer and making sure that we're getting in what we need to get in. Next inhale very slowly, with as little muscle engagement as possible. Lift yourself up if you lower down. Alright, now from here, you're going to turn towards the left side of your mat. And you're going to do that by opening up your left hip and bringing your left knee to the other side. Bending your right knee in and then bringing your right heel to your right glute. Did you catch that? Setting up for your deer pose. And if you're not sure, you got lost along the way, then this is where we're going. So you're facing the long side of your mat, just like I am. The left leg is bent and open in front of you with your right leg bent back behind you. And sit up nice and tall, and maybe you still have your bolster or blanket or props, whatever, on your left side. If you don't, then bring them there. And try to lay them out in line with your left hip so they're parallel with your yoga mat. And you might create a little bit of a stack with a couple of blocks or a couple of books underneath your blanket. Cool. So sit up nice and tall here. Breathe in, lengthen out your spine. And on your exhale, twist yourself towards your little landing strip of props. And you can stay up here if you like, and that's totally cool. If you have something to come down on top of, then walk your hands forwards and lay your chest down on top of your landing strip. You can lay your chin down. You can lay your forehead down if you have enough room to breathe. Or you can lay one cheek down, and I'll let you know when to switch sides if you would like to switch sides. If you come down, let your shoulders wrap around your props. Again, allowing them to relax. The reason that you're able to get into the connective tissue and the fascia that we're working on getting to in our yin practice is by allowing your muscles to relax. You do enough with your muscles, whether you're practicing online fitness videos all days you're quarantined at home, or just moving about your normal everyday life, whatever that is these days. Can you actually let go of your muscles? You allow them to release so that you can focus on that deeper tissue in your body. One of the things I always like to share is that your muscles are like the big brother, or the protective big brother to your baby sister connective tissue. And if your muscles sense pain, then they tend to tighten it up and prevent you from getting into those deeper areas. See how much you can let go, how much you can convince your muscles that everything's gonna be okay. If you laid one cheek down, then go ahead and switch sides. Notice anything that might come up in your lower back as you do. And just notice if something doesn't feel right or if something pinches back there, if you feel any sharp sensations, then try to back off. You totally don't have to switch sides if you don't want to. We're here for about 30 more seconds. As you stay and hold, try to think about maybe why you always feel like you have to move. Take another breath in. And then exhale, let go. And again, very slowly, with as little muscle engagement as possible, walk your hands back and breathe in as you come up out of your pose. Rotate back towards the front. And from here, we're going to switch sides. So, right leg comes around in front. You can take your landing strip if you have one and lay it to your right side. I'm afraid I may have lost you for a couple of minutes there, but it wasn't long. We're just coming from our deer pose on the left to deer pose on the right. So if you have your props, then lay them in line with your right hip on the right side. Set up your landing strip. Right leg bends in front of you with your right heel towards your left inner thigh. And then your left knee bends, bringing your left foot back behind you. Again, sit up nice and tall and breathe in. And on your exhale, twist towards your right. Turn towards your landing strip on this side. And if you don't have props underneath you, then that's totally cool. You can stay lifted if you want. If you want to go deeper, then start to walk your hands forwards and fold. Your chin can come down, your forehead can come down, or lay one cheek down and then the other, and I'll let you know when to switch. you lay one cheek down, then go ahead and switch sides. We seem to be struggling with a technological issue, maybe a connection thing, so I'm going to move my phone over here. You guys stay in your deer pose. Take another extra minute here, just in case we lost anybody from the connection. Should be a little bit better now. And when you're ready on your next inhale, walk your hands back and lift up. Now, you're going to come back to the front of your mat. And set up your half saddle on the other side, so your left leg goes long in front of you. And right knee bends in front. And move your bolster, your blanket back to the back side. And the other props out of the way. Notice how different this side feels after all that other work that we just did. Ever since doing the left side first. And so sit up nice and tall here. And just as before, if you want to stay here, you're more than welcome to. If you want to go deeper, then start to walk your hands back. Take your time. And if you come down to your forearms and your body says that this is enough, that's great. Stay here, this is enough. If you can go a little bit deeper, and if your body is ready, then walk your hands further forwards and come all the way down, either onto your mat or onto a rolled up blanket. Anything else that you might have around. Keep your breathing rhythm natural and steady. And by this point in the practice, you might be starting to feel like your hips and your legs are a little bit more open, a little bit more loose, a little less tight. All of that sticky connective tissue is more like plastic than elastic. It's incredibly hard to stretch out. It takes a long time before you can really start to feel any changes. It takes staying still. And to become as acutely aware as you need to be to notice any of these changes. Take about 3 more breaths wherever you're at. And after your 3rd breath, you start to make your way back. Lift yourself up gently out of your pose. Cool. Now, bend your left knee. Shift forwards. And send your right leg back behind you. Setting up your dragon on this side. If you need to move any props back there out of the way, go ahead and do that. Try to shift your right knee back, point your right toes behind you, and bring both hands inside your left foot. Start to set up your first dragon on your left side. If you want to stay on your hands, then by all means stay on your hands. If you want to come down onto one of your props with your forearms or your elbows, then you can do that. And wherever you go, remember to relax your 10-pound head. Relax your neck. You're welcome to stay here if you want to go deeper. Twist your dragon. And bring your hands down. And lay your left hand on your left inner thigh and gently roll your left hip even more open. Let your left shoulder draw back. Relax your right palm all the way down so you're not putting too much stress on your fingers, and your fingertips, and your knuckles. And maybe twist a little bit deeper. You're welcome to stay in your twisted dragon if this is right for you. If you want to go further, remember this is where your strap or your belt comes in handy. For a dragon pulling its tail, raise your right heel up and then either grab the outer edge of your right foot with your left hand. Gently, slowly pull it in even tighter. If you have a strap or a belt, use that to wrap around. Whatever's right for you and whatever you need. Wherever you're at, stay for about 30 more seconds. If you still have your tail, gently let it go. Release your right foot without slingshotting. Bring your left hand down. Step your left foot back, return to your tabletop. And then rotate so that your hips come down. Sit down on your mat facing the opposite way. Now if you have a rolled up blanket, it's a great idea to stick that underneath your knees. And if you happen to have another blanket or a block, you can stack that up on top of your thighs. Sit up nice and tall. And then when you're ready, fold forwards over your legs. In Vinyasa, it's Paschimottanasana, seated forward fold. In Vinyasa, this is caterpillar pose. So if you can lay your forehead down on a prop on top of your legs, that's totally cool. If you do place a prop on top of your legs, make sure that you also have one underneath your knees. Okay, you want to prevent your knees from bending in the opposite direction, which is not the way that they want to go. But your forehead doesn't necessarily have to come down to anything. It's just nice if you happen to have something there. Relax your arms, relax your shoulders, and avoid pulling yourself down with your arm strength. Just let your upper body hang heavy. And we're only here for about 30 seconds. And slowly on your next inhale, lift yourself up. And exhale, lie down on your back. You can keep the blanket underneath your knees if that feels good, or remove it if you would rather. Relax your shoulders down, let your palms open towards your ceiling. And your feet splay out to the sides of your mat with your toes pointing up, out towards opposite ends of the room. And find your final resting pose, Shavasana, in whatever shape this takes for you. Whatever is going to allow you to feel the most comfortable and the most disengaged. Whatever is going to allow you to remain perfectly still. As always, yogis, this is your practice, and you're likely in the comfort of your own home, so if you would like to stay in your Shavasana, then please do that. Otherwise, start to wake yourself back up. Take tiny movements at first. And in whatever way makes sense for you, whatever feels good in your body, make your way up to a comfortable seat. When you get there, crisscross your legs. And sit up tall with maybe a heightened awareness of how long your spine is. Inhale your arms up overhead. Exhale your hands down to heart center. And we'll see our practice, as always, with one sound of Om. First we'll inhale, and then exhale completely, and then we'll inhale to Om. Inhale. Exhale completely. Inhale to Om. so much, yogis, for joining me out there in the virtual world. For finding space and time to stop and to stay still for just a little bit. I hope you enjoy the rest of your week. I hope you stay safe, and I hope to see you real soon. Namaste. Thanks, yogis. Hope you enjoyed practice today. Hope there weren't too many technical difficulties and I didn't lose too many of you along the way. This was the first time filming here from mi casa to sukasa, so obviously there's going to be some things that will come up. So hopefully worked it out for next time, and let me know if anything came up in the comments on Facebook. Again, this video will be available for most of today. If it's separated into chunks, then I'll try to piece it together and repost it for any of you guys that might like to join later. I'll leave it up for most of the rest of the day and then take it down for the next one later. So take advantage, tell your friends if they want to practice Yin to head on over. It is public on my Facebook, so they should be able to get to it no matter what. And if you are thinking that you would like to get some props, then maybe do that. Yeah, having a block and a strap and well, blankets, you probably have those already, but they're a really nice way to deepen your practice. Too often we think of them as support, as ways to, or as crutches for when we can't get into a pose, but really your props help you deepen your postures. So think about that, and maybe order something and join me again later this week. But until next time, again, namaste. Hope to see you guys soon, and see you around.